and we begin this hour back on Capitol Hill. And what started as a relatively subdued hearing on the origins and response to COVID-19 quickly devolving into insults and allegations against Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's former top infectious disease expert. Correspondent Elina Shirazi is live on Capitol Hill following all of it. So, Elina, kind of bring us up to speed.
Nichole, good to be with you. We definitely saw a lot of those fireworks that we were expecting, especially from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She said that Dr. Fauci should go straight to prison. He should go to jail. She also refused to call him a doctor during this entire hearing. And we know that, of course, historically, we know that Fauci has said many times, if you disagree with me, you disagree with science, and that really brings all of this to a boiling point here, right? Lawmakers questioned a lot of facts surrounding whether some of his policies were science and what some of this was. Was it guesswork? So some of the main questions they had here for him during this hearing were, of course, on the pandemic policies like social distancing, specifically the 6 feet apart rule, which Fauci says was something that the CDC actually directed him to do. Masking as well was a question that was brought up here, directions for schools to work remote as well, and of course, most contentiously, how the pandemic even started in the first place. We know Republicans and Democrats here on both sides of the aisle questioning Fauci, taking sort of different approaches here with their lines of questioning when trying to get some answers from Fauci today. Some saying Fauci was used as a sort of scapegoat for Trump's mishandling of COVID is what they said, but others are saying they're defending him, and others are saying Fauci misguided America during a fragile time in our history. So we heard a lot of fiery exchanges, as I mentioned off the top here. Here are some of the more memorable ones from today.
Children all over America were forced to wear masks. Healthy children forced to wear masks, muzzled in their schools. And then they were forced to learn from home because of your so-called science and your medical suggestions, while you and all your cronies get paid from Big Pharma. You know what this committee should be doing? We should be recommending you to be prosecuted. We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
Under the guise of investigating the pandemic's origins, House Republicans have abdicated their responsibility to objectively examine how COVID-19 came to be, and instead weaponize concern about a lab-related origin to fuel sentiment against our nation's scientists and public health officials for partisan gain.
We also heard from Fauci's testimony there right in the middle of that. He touched on how decades of vaccine research actually helped prepare them to get shots into people's arms. He says 11 months after the virus first started, we can all remember that, and help them develop vaccines for COVID variants as well. We know he also took the time to try and set the record straight on his response that the pandemic started in a lab in Wuhan, China. He said he did not try to sway public opinion against that theory, and said in a large conference call soon after came to the conclusion, a lot of scientists said that COVID was almost certain to have started from animal to human transmission. So here is a part of his remarks there as well.
For at least 2 decades prior to the COVID outbreak, we at NIAID had invested billions of dollars in research on mRNA technology and immunogen design, both of which led to the swift development of COVID vaccines. Less than 11 months after the identification of this new virus, safe and highly effective vaccines were widely available, an unprecedented accomplishment in the history of vaccinology that saved tens of millions of lives worldwide.
And we know that Fauci had also shot down the accusations that he'd bribed scientists to dismiss the Wuhan lab theory. That's the theory that COVID was started in a lab in Wuhan, China. He's also dismissed some of these other allegations against him for having back channels of communication with some of his staff. So he repeatedly put his foot down, metaphorically, saying none of this is true, and continued to hold his own during this hearing. Nichole.
All right, Elina Shirazi live for us there on Capitol Hill. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.